What's up, YouTube? DJ Kryptonite here, talking boxing, combat sports, and the like. Man, I was just looking at that Max Kellerman interview that happened maybe like 2 or 3 days ago. Maybe it was a day ago, I don't know. But it was suggesting that he's saying Errol Spence essentially ducked Terence Crawford for this upcoming fight, and that's why they gave Terence Crawford no other option but to move on and fight someone else. I think he's the 10th ranked welterweight, at least by ESPN standards. He's a 10th ranked welterweight. I don't know how. Most of this stuff is rumor mill. I think everybody knows that. Everybody's making assumptions and just going by what everybody's saying in the public sector, not knowing what's going on behind the scenes, which is a bit frustrating. Like I said, boxing is fractured. It's fractured by promotion companies and networks. And boxing is going downhill because of that. Because anytime you got to argue whether a guy is willing to fight somebody or not, and you make the assumption that, yeah, he ducked him. Why would I even make the claim that Terence Crawford ducked Errol Spence, or Errol Spence ducked Crawford? Like, why would I don't believe any of those guys are scared to fight or anything like that. I don't even believe either one of them are scared to lose their own, honestly. I believe it's dominated by networks, attorneys, promotion companies, and that sort of thing. So it's just funny how people get upset and get in their feelings when you start talking about the politics of boxing, not knowing that it's just not the sweet science that it used to be. It's money generated. It's a money generated sport, and unfortunately, a lot of times the boxers don't have a whole lot of say in it. They have attorneys and advisors that are giving them insight as to say, hey, I think you need to hold off on this fight. You need to fight ABC and then move on, and then we'll get the big fight later. Let's maximize the dollar. Because that's ultimately how it's been. And I'm not knocking boxers for doing that, but that wasn't how it was in the 80s, the early 90s, and not to mention before then, 70s. It was just strictly boxing, and they were probably underpaid and all of that sort of thing, and abused, and taken advantage of. A lot of the boxers back in the day, yeah, they were, because a lot of these guys that that are retired probably don't even have 2 coins to scratch together. But again, I just think, with anything, everything goes extreme. Right now, it goes from the boxers getting little to nothing and not having a say and getting misused and abused. Now boxers have a say somewhat, but most of it is promotion companies making decisions for them to maximize the dollar. And they're definitely doing that. And I think Floyd Mayweather had the blueprint for that. He definitely had the blueprint for maximizing the dollar, signing with networks, kind of being your semi-owned boss, although you still answer to, you still have to answer to somebody, ultimately. But to allude to the fact that, Errol Spence ducked Terence Crawford. Errol Spence didn't duck Terence Crawford. This dude has been trying to gather all the belts for years. And Terence Crawford has been, I'll give it to him, he's been a dog, but not given the opportunities because he was signed with a promotion company that wasn't pushing him. So I can't blame Terence Crawford for not getting big fights and not wanting big paydays, and now he's getting a big payday in 10 mil, fighting this kind of no-name guy. But I can't knock that. What am I going to knock that? I can't knock it, but I'm not going to sit here and say, Terence Crawford ducked Errol Spence. Nah, I ain't really duck him. I don't think he ducked him, and I don't think Errol Spence ducked him. Why would I even think that? I think these guys really do want to get in the ring and prove who's the best welterweight, or who's really the best boxer in the game right now, because both of those guys arguably are the 2 best boxers in the game. So I don't know. I'm just sick of the casual fans or the fanboys and either side sitting here saying, oh, he ducked this, he ducked. These guys ain't ducking nobody. I think sometimes the promotional companies and the boxers make decisions that are not fan friendly. That's a fact. That's a fact. They make decisions that ain't fan friendly, because a lot of these fights, like, nobody wants to see Terence Crawford fight this guy. Nobody. He'll be lucky. They'll be lucky to break even with this pay-per-view. They got a nerve to have this on pay-per-view, which is just an atrocity in and of itself. For $40, you want me to pay BLK Prime to watch Terence Crawford fight nobody? If Terence Crawford really wanted to show that he was moving on, he would have asked, hey, give me Thurman. Give me one of those top welterweights. I'll take one of those. But again, he got to feed his family. He may be looking for an easy payday, $10 million. I ain't mad at him for that. But I had somebody comment on my page or one of my videos to say, hey, you said he was a bad businessman, but a bad businessman don't make $10 million in his spare time. And I was like, I don't even know if that's his spare time. That's not his spare time. He's a professional boxer. I just said maximize your earning potential. That's all I was suggesting. You're gonna make $10 million to skirt greatness. So beating Errol Spence and making maybe $15, $20, $25 million ain't a good business decision. For somebody to make that statement on one of my videos is ridiculous. You're not even a boxer. You're a fanboy for Terence Crawford. That's what it sounds like. If you don't know the politics of boxing, just go on. I don't need to hear all of that. It's just you don't even make any good sense when you say that. What I'm saying is boxing is not a pastime or a spare time for him. That's his professional. He's a professional. That is his job as a professional. To make good fights, make good money, and to be great at what you do. And to make the fight with Errol Spence is a way to do that. All that, check all the boxes. But for people to sit there and just be a fanboy to the sport, to a particular boxer, as opposed to a fan of the sport and wanting good fights, good decisions, good promotion companies, the fractured industry is so frustrating. Promotion companies are fractured. Channels are fracturing the game. You got people in both, like promotion companies and channels, that should be fighting one another, but because of all of the politics, they can't even make a deal because of dollars and cents. It makes no sense. They screwed boxing up again. I'll say this in all my videos. MMA, boxing needs to take a page out of MMA where it's one person or maybe one body of individuals that decides what's next for that particular boxer. And if you decide that you don't want to do that, if you decide that that's not what you want to do, then you need to relinquish your belts and move on. You're no longer the champ because you're not fighting people who are in line to challenge you. You're just fighting off brands, and that goes across the board. It should be a step ladder system to get to the champion and for the champion to defend his titles. Period. That's it. But all of these politics, you got all kinds of sanctioning bodies. You got promotion companies, networks that sit there and do what's best for them, and they try to hoard certain things like the WBO. That's a title that's exclusive to ESPN primarily. Across the board, if you look over the weight classes, the WBO is a Bob Arum ESPN dominated belt that they kind of keep close to the cuff. And that's a fact. Anybody can look at it, research it. You can look at it, and if you want to challenge me, totally fine. I'm fine with the challenges. That's fine. But look at that. That is a network-sponsored, promotion-sponsored belt that's dominated. Not to say that's an absolute statement, but if you look at all of the weight classes and look where the WBO titles reside, ESPN, Bob Arum. That's how it is. So my thing is that fair? No, because essentially you got three different leagues. You got the Zone, you got Matchbook, Matchroom, or whatever. You got Bob Arum and ESPN Top Rank, and then you got PBC. And not to mention Goosen. I think Goosen Productions they still promote stuff, but I think they're kind of a free agent. They kind of do whatever. But listen, I get frustrated. I post these videos out of frustration. I just like to get feedback to see if anybody agrees with my thoughts on this stuff, because it's frustrating. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It makes financial sense for people other than the fighters, yes. But for the fighters and for the fans, it makes no sense. So anyway, I just wanted to post this. I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. And like I said, like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate everybody's comments, and I don't take this stuff personal, but some people do. So when you come at me sideways, I don't understand why, because we're just having some commentary, but it's all good. So expect the same energy in return. But anyway, like, subscribe, comment. Appreciate all of you guys. Deuces.